This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Macca's. When the footy's on, never miss a moment with a 99-cent delivery fee.
Welcome to Triple M NRL Daily here on your Wednesday, which means the Journos edition, my favourite episode of the week. Two of the absolute greats, Danny Weidler and Adam Pengilly. How are you, boys?
I'm good, Charlie. Welcome back. How was your trip to the World Cup? Actually, Danny and I are very jealous.
Yeah.
I am jealous that you got to go to a couple of Socceroos games over there, even though the American game probably wasn't that great a result, obviously.
It wasn't a great result, but it was a really cool experience, the American game. And you got, 70,000 Americans chanting USA, the national anthem. We had the fighter jets come above the stadium. It was a pretty cool experience. Like, even going to a host nation game, it was a cool experience. Yes, we didn't win, but the atmosphere was amazing.
I'm just amazed how fresh he looks. You've just dead set got off a plane.
Commitment. That's
Mate,
commitment.
I've got my eyes hanging out my head normally. I can't see straight.
Can we investigate this?
Why are you looking so fresh, Charlie?
Oh, mate, just fresh.
Did you sleep at all?
I managed to fall asleep, yep. Which was good.
Economy's comfortable?
Economy was comfortable. Yeah, Qantas, great planes at Qantas, mate. They're fantastic.
Where'd you really sit?
I sat in the economy. Yeah, economy.
He turned left.
Do we have a BS meter on here? Because it's ringing off its head right
Well, mate,
now.
I've got a lot of points from travelling so much for work at Triple M, so I was able to upgrade to business.
See, I called this the Silver Spoon Charlie trip at the start, remember? I think I stand by it.
No, it was a lot of fun, though. Cool experience. If you get the opportunity to go to a World Cup, it was great. I loved every minute of it. It was fantastic. But rugby league, boys.
Rugby League World Cup, you mean?
Rugby League World Cup.
Soccer World Cup.
Oh, I'm in the Soccer World Cup. But if the Rugby League
I'll probably
World
be at the
Cup,
Rugby League World Cup.
Well, will you be there following around this year?
Oh, I'll be there somewhere.
Yeah.
I'd imagine.
Because obviously Seven's got the rights.
They
so
do.
will Nine change? Do they cover it at all, or will they still get a lot of support?
We do a news service, so we cover stuff.
Yeah.
We cover lots of sports where we don't have the rights. So, yeah, we'll be there as a news service, for 100%.
Yeah, it's going to be a good World Cup, though. New Zealand, I think, should be the favourites going into it. Almost.
Favourites?
Yeah, I honestly do. I think they're going to win it.
Okay. Well, look, I think they've got a claim, yeah. I think they've got an outstanding team. It'll be interesting to see who actually fronts up for Australia too after a long season and, eligibility and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, we are going to talk a bit more about the World Cup later on because there is some news around Melbourne maybe not wanting any games from the World Cup. But, boys, Latrell Mitchell, he's out of Game 3. Terrible news.
It's not ideal. I think we're all sort of seeing Latrell as that emotional character that New South Wales needed for the decider up there at Suncorp Stadium, a guy who would run out and just go, you know what, I don't care what you 50,000 Queenslanders think. I'm coming here to play for New South Wales and try and put the team on his back. But his body has been a big issue, Charlie, and broke down at training in front of the media, Danny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, I had a day off on Monday, but the news filtered through very quickly. But he was the man for the moment in a lot of ways, wasn't he? He was going to be the centre stage. Talk about, theatre in Origin. Come on, Trell, come on down. We need you. We need you to perform. We need you to bully Queensland. Now we don't have him. And look, it's no knock on the guys who have been there. Good players, but Latrell has that certain something about him, doesn't he? And if there's a single player, I think if you look at players who love big stages, it's probably Reece Walsh in Queensland and the Broncos, and you look in New South Wales and it's Latrell Mitchell.
Yeah.
He is our showman, our tough guy, our bully, and now we have to get by without him, which is sad.
Yeah, it's a big call for Laurie Daley, what he does now, and the question is going to be, how's it going to affect Souths, Charlie? They've sort of been sitting around the fringes of the bottom of the top 8 for most of the season. I think it's stages. They look like a team that could legitimately make a prelim, maybe even a grand final. But without Latrell Mitchell,
they don't do it.
They can't do it without Latrell.
Look, he's that again. All of that what he would have been for New South Wales to Souths, and they are a reasonably good side. I think without him and fit, they're a very good side. But they just can't always seem to get their players on the park. Well coached, obviously, with Wayne there. And had they had Latrell there all season, I think they'd be flying right near the top. Without him, they just lack that slight edge. And he's that player for them, isn't he? He's that difference maker. And his last game that we saw him play wasn't against Newcastle, where
phenomenal.
He was unbelievable. And he was really, really good. And I interviewed Cam Murray yesterday. I went down he was there with some of his he was at his junior club, the Mascot Jets, and I asked him about Latrell, and people have been, I don't know if we're getting into it or not about, his price tag and all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
Okay. So I put it to him about that, saying, people have been saying that he's not worth the money that Souths are paying him. And he just said he's never seen Latrell more committed to rugby league than he is this season. He said, and look, I think the results were showing at the start of the year. He just sadly, the back injury and into this injury, it gives people the fuel to knock him for not being, able to get on the field enough, and then question his value. Cam said, he wants him to stay. He wants him to re-sign because he knows what he brings to Souths on and off the field. And I think they're the opinions we probably have to listen to.
Yeah. He is a November 1 guy.
Yes.
Brent Reed said if he was running Souths books, he'd pay them $1.4 million. He'd pay Latrell Mitchell. What do you boys think he's worth?
You couldn't pay him 1.4. As big a star as he is and how good he is, you just can't pay him $1.4 million when you look at his track record with injury. And Charlie, you look at his record. In the 4 seasons he played at the Roosters, he played more games in 4 seasons at the Roosters than what he has with Souths, and he's into his 7th season with Souths. And he just can't stay on the park to play 18, 20, 22 games a year. It's a concern. It's a concern. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't pay him. I wouldn't disrespect him and pay him $700,000 or $800,000. I think that's probably a little bit low. But my value for him, Danny, would be around $1 million a year.
Okay. So what did Reddy say?
Reddy said 1.4.
Yeah, Cameron Murray quoted that figure to me yesterday. He said, I don't really read the media, but someone said to me the other day that Latrell's worth 1.4.
Cam's probably thinking he needs a couple extra zeros under his contract.
Mate, he's busted his gut.
David Riccio said 800,000 on 360 yesterday.
Well, look, I think we're all just pulling figures out of our backside, particularly Reedy. That's a big figure, 1.4. I think Latrell, is probably $1 million player.
Yeah, I agree.
And if he's not a spine player anymore, and I don't think he would be the sort of guy who'd be begging Souths or urging Souths to say, you've got to pay me more, because he knows, like Latrell was responsible in a big way behind the scenes for getting Payne Haas to the club. Latrell wants a premiership. And if he wants a premiership, he can't be a $1.4 or $1.5 million player.
Great point.
Because he's got to look at what's around him and say, yep, and $1 million is nothing to be sneezed at. And I don't think he's a selfish guy. I think he wants a premiership. And if he's not bringing Payne Haas to that club or helping bring him to that club if he doesn't want to win a comp, right? And next year, if you've got a fit Latrell on $1 million a year and you've got Payne Haas in that side, you've got 2 of the biggest beasts in the competition.
Absolutely.
Like, 2 of the biggest headline makers, and all, like Payne Haas, I don't think there's anyone who would say he's not a generational player. Latrell, when he's fit and well, same. And they're the sort of blokes who Souths can build a comp around. But Latrell's got to be there at the right price. And I think $1 million, he earns money off the field as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he knows that if he goes and asks for 1.4 or 1.5 in the Reedy scale, they might lose a couple of valuable workers in that side who they desperately need through origin time, through injury time, and all that sort of thing. So I think a reasonable amount is about $1 million a year.
Yeah. And I don't think that would be him sacrificing money. Like $1 million a year, it's not like he's leaving a ton of money on the table.
He'd be leaving some. Like if he went on the open market and Perth or whoever, not that, Perth don't always make the right decisions with their players, do they?
No. But it's like we saw in the NBA, Jalen Brunson.
Who?
Jalen Brunson. The New York Knicks just won the title. He sacrificed $120 million.
Well, that's the equivalent of 400 in Australia, isn't it? 400,000 in Australia.
Yeah, exactly.
Go with the exchange rate.
Yeah.
I think, who's been the best player in the game the last 4 or 5 years? Who would you say?
Payne Haas, the Nathan Cleary.
Nathan Cleary.
Yep.
And how has he done that? He's taken unders at Penrith to assemble a team around him that's helped him win 4 comps in a row. I reckon Latrell would do well to take a leaf out of Nathan Cleary's book and say, you know what, I'm just going to take probably a couple $100,000 less than what I could get elsewhere.
And he could earn that elsewhere.
He could. Absolutely could. Absolutely could. But to Souths, I think his value is around that $1 million a year mark to get a more balanced roster around
And you know what? He just feels right at South, doesn't he? I mean,
absolutely.
I thought he played some of his greatest football at the Roosters, but for whatever reason, he looks comfortable there. He feels right. And, yes, he could fit in easily at another, like a PNG or wherever. But I just feel like if he wants a premiership, which, I mean, he's got a couple, he's won a couple already, but to win one when he's a senior player at South Sydney, I think that would mean a lot to him and the people around him, because he's got a real bond with those South Sydney players. Like the way Cameron Murray was speaking about him, he is glowing about him and the contribution he makes to that club.
And I think he'd probably love to win one before the Roosters have won another since he left as well.
No doubt.
I think
No
he'd
doubt.
love that.
Yeah.
2027 shapes as a premiership contending year for South Sydney with Payne
Absolutely. I think
so.
coming in. If he's not there in 2028, are they still competing for a title?
It's about Payne or Latrell?
Latrell. So if Latrell obviously signed until the end of 2027, but if he leaves at the end of that contract, are South still competing for a title in 2028?
Can you see him going anywhere else, Charlie? Can you see him wanting to play for another NRL club? And the reason I bring that up is it was a throwaway line that I did in an interview with Latrell way back when. I think it was before Roosters might have played in the grand final. It would have been either 2018 or 2019. And I asked Latrell a bit about his long-term future, and he said, by the age of 30, I'm done. I'm on a farm.
Really?
I'm retired. And that's a long time ago. Things change,
Yeah.
obviously. But guess what?
He's getting close.
He's not far from 30.
No.
Well, I just think while Payne's there, and maybe I was speaking incorrectly saying it's a premiership window, I think it is a premiership window.
Yeah.
While Payne's there.
Okay.
And I think that, like, whether he's there for 1 or 2 or 3 years or whatever it is, they need Latrell to take unders and stay there, build a squad around those two guys, and I think they can genuinely do something. Like, their spine is interesting, Souths.
They don't spend a lot of money on it, do they?
Yeah, they're like one of those clubs that you look at their, well, is Jamie Humphries going to Perth? Is that right? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
Cody's older. Do we know if he's playing on yet?
No, we don't. We were told at the start of the year we'd find out around round 10 to 12. We've obviously passed that. We still don't know.
Still playing good footy.
Yep.
You know, their fullback, Jai Gray, wouldn't be on huge money.
6-7, probably around that.
So their big, where's their big money? Will be spent in Payne Haas next year, Latrell, whatever he signs on for next year and beyond, whatever it is.
Cam Murray.
Cam Murray would be on good money.
Jack Whiten's on good money.
Jack Whiten's on good money.
Well, something's got to give there. All these names you're saying, because they're all guys that are on close to $1 million a year. Is Jack Whiten maybe the guy that has to leave to make room for all these players?
He's very popular in that playing group, Charlie. I don't think it'd be...
What's he on, about 800?
Yeah, around that, I think, yeah.
Maybe less. Because remember, he was...
It was a 3-year, $2.4 million deal he signed at the time.
So what, third year next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, like I'm not an expert at the figures like a Reedy is or those blokes, but to me it feels like they've got the next couple of years when they've got to strike.
Yeah.
And the way they spend their money is interesting. Like they're going to need someone to really stand up in their halves to be that team that to go all the way, aren't they? Like they're one of those clubs. Like they've got some good young halves, but no one has really. Do you think it's unfair to say no one's grabbed that 7 and said it's mine at this point?
No, I think that's fair. They've tried a few different options, haven't they? They've got Ashton Ward's doing a pretty decent job for them at the moment.
Yeah.
They've tried Bud Sullivan. They've tried Jamie Humphries. Jonah Glover's had his injury issues there playing New South Wales Cup this year. So they've got a few different options, but no one's really grabbed it by the scruff of the neck. But I think Ashton Ward is doing a good job, to be fair.
Yeah. One thing that's a fact, if Latrell Mitchell does retire around that age, like you say, the game will be worse off not having him because he is must-watch TV every time he plays. He's not going to be there for Origin, which is just terrible news. What changes would you make, Adam, for Game 3?
Plenty, Charlie. Plenty.
Have you picked a team? Or?
Listen, I've got a team. Do you want me to read out my team?
Yes, please.
While I get it out.
Was I supposed to pick the team?
I don't know, mate. I've just got off the plane, so I'm not sure.
Curtis? No, okay, no, I wasn't. Adam's got it on his own.
Good.
Here.
No,
I was just mucking around last night thinking I'm going to pick my own New South Wales team for the decider. What did Gus say, Danny? Not many changes?
Well, we're going to play that audio. Well, in fact, why don't we play it now? Let's play it now. This is what Gus said on 100% Footy on Monday night.
I think if you sat down with the players that played in games 1 and 2 and asked them what's actually going on out there, what are you feeling, what's going wrong when things are going wrong, and what do we need to do better, they'll come up with a lot of the answers themselves. All right? And I think it's fraught with danger bringing players in that haven't had a lot of football under their belt in recent times and thinking they're going to go into a decider against this Queensland side in Brisbane and suddenly punch out 80 minutes of perfect football. It's not going to happen. It just won't. All right? The players with the best solution to this are the ones that have actually experienced what's going on out there. They've just got to go into it with a different mindset. And I'm sure they'd want to put it right. So I wouldn't be making all that many changes at all. There will be changes through injury. There will be changes because someone feels compelled to make changes. But Queensland just sit back there with that silly smirk on their face and say, here they go again. And that's the thing that's got to fight.
He doesn't want any changes. He basically wants the guys who have been in this series to figure it out themselves.
I'd probably make a couple of changes.
Yeah.
And Gus is far wiser in Origin than I'd ever be. I think what he's getting on, what Gus is on about, is our attitude has been wrong. Mentality's been wrong. And when you look at how we played, it's hard to argue with. I feel like New South Wales have played with a fair bit of weight on them. I don't know whether it's the media's fault, whether it's expectation. I don't know what it is, but I feel like they've played a bit tight. Whereas I think Queensland have approached it how we should approach, New South Wales should approach this last game, as in, hey, no one's expecting New South Wales to win. Puncher's chance, get in there and just give it your everything, give it your all. And I'm trying to snap myself out of a depression when it comes to New South Wales. It's been a very...
There's still a chance, Danny. There's still a chance.
Well, I'm talking myself into it as I speak. Puncher's chance, You don't believe me, Charlie.
I think we got dominated in game one and got very lucky.
No, series should be over.
Yeah.
Series should be, we have been a 20-point worst team in both games.
Yep.
Simple as that. And we're fortunate that we're a chance. Simple as that. There's no other way of saying it.
But to your point, Queensland would relish this situation. They would be absolutely loving this. Backs to the wall, underdogs, and they would back themselves to get out.
They're not underdogs.
No, I'm saying if they're in this situation that New South Wales are in, they would back themselves to fight their way out of it and come up with a state of origin miracle, right?
Yeah.
Why can't New South Wales
channel
some of that and do the same?
I'm drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm drinking I think this is an opportunity. I'm seeing it as an opportunity. I'm trying to convince myself. Okay. I've seen nothing to believe what I'm saying.
Has anyone rung you and asked you to speak positively about New South Wales?
No, but I do. What you're saying, that's been happening, have you, Charlie?
I'm asking the question.
Well, no one has rung me and asked me to speak anyway. But I have sensed a real narrative shift from people, and I don't know if it's been driven by something to get behind the Blues. To get behind Laurie Daley. Have you sensed that?
I have. Dean Ritchie's been very outspoken.
Yeah, but look, love Bulldog. He's always going to, because he's loyal to his mate Laurie. And I think, some of the attacks on Laurie have been outrageous. And I'm with Bullfrog on that.
Yeah.
Some of them have been outrageous.
I don't love the chat about who's going to replace him before he's finished the series as well. I think we actually on Triple M NRL socials, we had the 5 best candidates for...
That's your fault.
I was on annual leave, Danny. I was across it.
Charlie, I get blamed for everything. I get blamed for everything that happens at Channel 9 News.
Yeah.
You get blamed for everything that happens at Triple M.
It was very engaging content that got people fired up, but I don't know if it's very respectful talking about the replacements when someone's still in the job.
I think the thought is that Laurie's not going to do it again.
I'd be surprised if he goes around
You're
next year.
close to
I'd be
him.
really surprised, Danny, if he goes around next year. I think he's come in to try and do a job for a couple of years when Madge left at very short notice, don't forget as well. I don't know how many other candidates there were who were willing to put their hands up to have a crack, but he's done it. And, I'll be surprised if he's coaching in 2027.
But, and I do think some of the criticism's worthwhile in some areas.
Yeah.
Of course.
Like I said, I'm still scarred by Game 3 last year when we were terrible. And then the first 2 games, we should be out of the series. The Blues should be dead and buried. And it's only through Nathan Cleary carrying us in that last 20 minutes to get a 12-man, to beat a 12-man Queensland side that were alive. Because the second half in Melbourne was as bad as I've seen. I mean, it was... Did you see it, Charlie?
Yeah, it was. I watched the replay of it because it was on at 3 a.m. where I was.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And New South Wales were 40 minutes away from winning a series, stealing a series, and Queensland put on whatever it was, 30 points, whatever. It was pretty bad.
Who appointed Laurie Daley?
Well, the New South Wales Rugby League Board.
And the Dave Trodden? Is that fair to say?
Well, he would
have had the main decision.
Well, he's part
the CEO.
of it. He's part of it.
Because appointing him in the first place is the mistake. That's the mistake.
Okay. So,
but can I ask you this question? Who did you want then? At the back end of 2024, when Madge walked out at short notice to take over the Broncos, and don't forget, they sacked Kevy after the season. It wasn't if Madge coached Game 3 and said, that's it, I'm done. It was months later. Who did you want?
Well, you'd have to have a look at
Well, it
who
would
was
have been Matt
available
King.
at the time.
It would have been Matt King.
Matt King would have been the other
Right.
option.
So I'll tell you who was available, which people seem to forget. Freddie was willing to do it, right? Freddie was willing to jump in from memory. This is from my memory. Or was that? Or it might have been before. Yeah, was it before Madge or after Madge? Freddie was
willing to
before
keep
Madge.
going before Madge.
Okay,
and then they
right.
had the issue over
So
how much they're going to pay him
So
and
way
the
back
contract
when,
length,
yeah,
all that
okay.
stuff.
So maybe that was, I'm getting confused.
Yeah.
Freddie was willing with Gus back then. Gus was going to play a role. And he was just going to help Freddie out. So we could have had Freddie and Gus before Madge. Then Madge came in. And then after that, I think we're just looking at, it was Matt King who was beaten to the post, wasn't it?
I think Matt King interviewed for that job. Yeah, I think so.
I don't know. Yeah, I think he was keen on it. So I don't know how many other options.
I'm sure if we were in this position where we had to creatively sit down and see who was available at the time, we could come up with a bunch of different candidates, though. Like we're thinking now in hindsight who was available and who went for it. You got to get a bit creative when appointing an Origin coach and reach out to different people that might not have an interest to it. Maybe there's people in the media.
You think
maybe there's maybe you can convince Matty Johns. Maybe you can convince Andrew Johns. Maybe you can convince these guys.
Well, we're going to face that again, it looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I know you don't want to talk about what's going to happen next, but there's every chance that we're going to be in that same boat where, we're going to be looking for a new coach. New South Wales will be searching for a coach, and the same name's going to come up.
Yeah, 100%.
Matt King.
Yeah.
Oh,
What about Shane Flanagan?
Boyd Cordner is the one who gets a lot of reference.
He does. Yeah.
And-
Ivan Cleary is the other obvious candidate.
Yeah, he's an obvious candidate, but it's a bit of time away still, and.
But if Peter Wallace is going to take over
Yeah.
in 2028, could you not just say to Peter Wallace, mate, you're at the reins for 7 or 8 weeks?
Yeah, you could. Is Ivan a natural Origin fit?
What are you saying? He's not an emotional guy?
Well, he's just different to everything else, isn't he? Like his record is unbelievable, and he's a great coach. But Craig Bellamy's record is unbelievable and a great coach. Does extreme success at club footy translate to success at Origin football? There are not, I don't think it's a given. I think that he's a great. If he wants to do it, you beg him to do it because of his record. But it's not, he's a different sort of coach. He's got a system out there that works. He understands all his players really well. I haven't yet seen Ivan as a hit and run coach, which is like Madge is a hit and run guy. Like, he can make an impact quickly, which we saw.
Yeah.
So, and he's done that for New Zealand. He did it for the Blues. Some people say he's a hit and run club coach too. Like he should only be there for a short time.
Yeah.
So is Ivan the sort of guy who can make an instant impact? He's a laid back cat, isn't he?
Can I throw up another permutation potentially of Ivan taking over as Origin coach? We're all sitting here wondering what Nathan Cleary's going to do beyond 2027.
Coach the Blues?
If you give Ivan Cleary the chance to coach Origin and say to him, mate, you're the man from either next year if you want it or 2028 when you finish at Penrith, do you think that plays on Nathan's mind a little bit, saying I'd love to be coached by my dad in Origin now?
1,000,000%. Do you think Nathan's going anywhere?
Don't know. I don't think so, but I couldn't tell you exactly.
But but there's also, but people want to bag Nathan all the time as an Origin player too. That's another element. But yeah, I think, look, we're getting ahead of ourselves as usual. There's a game that has to be decided, in a hurry. And I don't know, there's a team that, like, you got a team.
Do you want my team, Charlie?
Yeah, let's hear these
Listen,
changes.
I haven't given it probably as much thought as I should have. I'm going to be honest. But I've got to change. You can bag it. You can bag it as much as you like. There are a stack of changes to this team. Wow. I want a team that's going to have power through the middle.
Okay, can you take us through it slowly?
Okay, I want a team that's going to have power through the middle. I want creativity around the ruck, and I want some strike out wide.
Okay.
And I think New South Wales, and I said this on the podcast, I think last week in Game 3, they have to score a lot of points to win this series. I don't think they can score 14 or 16 and win. I don't think their defence is good enough. They're going to have to score 26, 30, maybe even 32, 34 points to win.
Am I going to hear Gutherson, Sloan, Leilua?
There's not a single Dragons player in this team.
Okay, good.
Is there a future Dragons player? Keon Clon-Matunga.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm staying with Tedesco at fullback.
Okay.
You happy?
Big call. Yep.
I thought about it,
I'm happy with that.
but I'm going to stay.
Yeah.
Well, you have him as the greatest fullback of all time.
He's the best fullback I've seen.
Yeah.
My wingers, this was a really hard one. I was very, very close to Brian To'o missing out. But I'm going to keep him. I think he's been below par in the first 2 Origin games, a long way off his standards. But his track record is phenomenal, and I think we still just need someone to carry the ball out of the backfield. So I'm keeping him.
I'm a Brian believer. I think he deserves this chance. He hasn't been good.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I think he's done enough good stuff for the Blues over the years to have the trust that he can do something when it matters.
So as credit in the bank, I'm gonna stay with him. I'm gonna go with Mark Nwonganita-Wase as my other winger.
%1,000,000.
Have to, don't you?
I thought he did some good stuff in Origin 2. I know Cobbo scored 3 tries down his wing, but a lot of them weren't Mark's fault, to be fair.
$1,000,000%. Most exciting player in the game.
Yeah. 2 changes.
Such a shame he's going to Union.
I'm
heartbroken by that.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm actually depressed about that. I'm depressed about the Blues, and I'm upset that Mark's leaving rugby league. I think it's terrible.
What happened to the pot of gold that we had to keep players from going to rugby?
That wasn't it Dave Smith's
isn't it the
salary cap dispensation, which actually
know.
in this case would have made sense because Mark Nwonganita-Wase is actually a guy that has union ties.
Charlie, it does make sense, but can you imagine what every other club in the comp would say when he signs for an inflated price at the Roosters?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What do they all say?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good point.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've made 2 changes in the centres.
Okay.
I feel really bad for Tony Staggs and Tolu Kola, but I'm going with Stephen Crichton on one side. He's going to defend on the right side because that's where Queensland carved up New South Wales.
That's their avenue.
So I'm just going for the best defensive centre on that side. He's going to play right. And I'm going to pick Bradman Best on the left. He's hopefully had a couple of games under his belt. I remember back to the series decider in 24. He was phenomenal, Bradman Best.
Game 3 specialist.
Game 3 specialist. And I want him to play on the left side for me.
So Crichton's the important one, I think.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dunce when it comes to analysis of football, but people who are smarter than me tell me that Queensland run Ponga, Munster, Hammer down that
left
Crichton
side.
side.
Yeah.
And Cleary missed 10 tackles, whatever it was, 11 tackles. He's on that side. That was a clear case of not gelling well with Staggs, who is one of the players who actually has that Origin aggression that you want to see, and that he attacks Origin. So I'm loath to toss him out, but if Crichton is fit enough, yes. Yeah, I worry about his fitness still. I really do. And he pulled out of the last game because he couldn't train.
He played for the Bulldogs only a few days later.
He played 5'8", and he tackled a lot. So, but his body doesn't look right. So he'll be a target again.
We need 80 minutes, Danny.
Yeah, and look, you know what I think New South Wales lacked a lot was his voice. Like I watched them at training and stuff like that, and they're a quieter team. And whereas Crichton, you hear him in the next suburb away.
Well, we hear him before you see him, don't you?
Yeah, like he's like a Josh Addo-Carr.
Yeah.
Who probably could come into consideration for your team as well, I reckon.
Okay, halves. I'm going to stick with Cleary and Moses. I know there'll be some critics, but I still think they can find the right balance between those two and help New South Wales out. I know that's harsh on Ethan Strange, who was so good in game 1, but I want to back my 2 most experienced halves to do the job at Suncorp in a decider.
If he has a dud against the Bunnies, Mitchell Moses on the weekend, would you change that decision?
No, I don't think so. Charlie. If he has an absolute stinker, well, maybe, but I think he's...
Well, they've shown their preference.
Yeah.
Laurie has shown that, he picked Moses first up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Then took a risk on him when he probably wasn't fully fit. Look, we can say that now. Like, he was a bit underdone. But Moses is... again, it's not popular to be praising Mitchell Moses at the moment, but he's a competitive beast. He hates losing. He's one of those guys who, you can see the anger in his eyes if they're getting beaten. He wants to do something. So, and he's done it in a decider when he was a halfback. Remember, like he danced through that Queensland front line and scored one of the great Origin tries when Maguire was coach up there in a decider. So yeah, he's got the big game mentality you need.
My props, I'm going to start...
We haven't talked about Nathan.
He has to be there.
No, but I'm just saying he has to be there, but he also has to have a better game.
Well, he was poor in game 2. He knows that.
I haven't seen him as down on himself as I did after that game. Like he was genuinely down on himself. Like he was angry. So I'm hoping that is the fuel that can fire him up into something really special in game 3.
My props, are you happy with Payne Haas and Isaiah Yeo starting up front?
I love it.
Danny's not convinced?
Well, no, I've been saying it all along that I'd like to see Yeo. Like Haas I didn't think he was outstanding for New South Wales. I thought he was okay. He didn't make his usual 1,000,000 metres. Yeo's an interesting one, isn't it? Because that's what I've been thinking all along. He should be front row, and he's got to give more, doesn't he? As our captain and as a front rower, he's never been a front rower really. Like I know he's played there in times, but this is a decider, and we're tossing him in as that. I know why you're doing it, to get Cameron Murray in the side. So that is to me, it's a worthwhile risk, but it is a bit of a risk.
Just a quick question. Everyone talks about Nathan Cleary needing to dominate Origin.
I don't.
No, you don't, but a lot of people do. Payne Haas, does he need to dominate Origin?
He's had some good games, Charlie.
He's played pretty well.
He's had some good games.
But he hasn't had his
He's not.
I can't remember an Origin game where Payne Haas just absolutely dominated the Queensland forward pack.
I don't play Super Coach, right? But isn't he just the best player to have in Super? I don't know. Is he or not?
Yeah, I mean, he played nearly 80 minutes in the middle.
His yard. He didn't play that long for New South Wales, did he? The other day?
No, I think about 55 minutes around that.
Like, just play him like he plays in club and let him go the whole game and let him tear through the middle. The thing with Payne is, which always interests me, is you rarely see the spinning eyes of a traditional front rower. Like you see to Mitch Barnett, you see that madness and whatever, and you see I want to see a little bit of that, but I just can't. I don't know if that's his game though.
Yeah,
is that what you're getting at?
You think of the best front rowers of all time, like Shane Webke, just was unbelievable.
Haas
in
is
Origin.
In that conversation.
Of course he is.
Glenn Lazarus.
But for him to fully be in that conversation, does he need to go out there and just dominate Queensland's middle? And can he do that?
I think he can, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he can. I think he can tear him apart. And I want to see that. He's getting around with a heavily bandaged knee too. Again.
You think he's a bit busted?
I don't know, but I just see that knee and I think, I don't like, it's a heavy amount of tape you see at training and stuff. I can't remember in the game as well. I can't remember if he did, but in training you see the knee heavily bandaged.
It was a nasty injury he sustained against the Tigers earlier this year. Like he twisted it really badly. And I think he's obviously pushed himself to get back for this Origin series and to help the Broncos, obviously.
Well, to your point, Charlie, he has to dominate. If New South Wales is to win, Nathan and Mitchell have to kick him off the park, and Critter has to defend really well in your team.
And Haas has to dominate.
Yeah.
Like Haas made it personal one year against Tina Fasua-Malawi, and they had a little dust up. I think it was the last actual proper fight we've had in Origin.
Yeah.
You almost want to see that from Haas. Just make it personal. Go up against him and make it personal.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Blake Brayley, starting hooker.
So he's back. That's good news because he was in. Did he play for Sharks on the weekend? Just gone? Yeah,
he wore a bit of a protection over his arm. It wasn't exactly Mal Meninga-like, but it was there to protect the arm.
I differ with you there.
You staying with Robson, are you?
I'm a firm believer in Reece Robson defending at least the first 30 minutes of the game, just tackling his butt off and doing a job, and then allowing a Brayley or a Coruscant, whoever you want, to start to weave their magic. And I'm a big fan of Reece Robson. I'm probably in the minority when it comes to Origin, but I do like he's a line speed leader, and he belts blokes, and I like that.
I get where you're coming from, but I watched that game pretty closely between the Roosters and Sharks on Sunday night, and he had a fine game, but he threw a couple of stinker passes.
Yeah, he did. A couple of shockers.
A couple of terrible passes. His service from dummy half was not great all night. Like, it was fine for most of it. But
that was later in the game, or?
I think so from memory.
Yeah,
definitely was in the
I
second
remember.
half.
I was there, and I remember him throwing a couple of passes which weren't up to his normal standard.
So he's going to start as my hooker, Blake Brayley. My back row is going to be Hudson Young, Liam Martin, and Cameron Murray. And I want Liam Martin on that right-hand side.
Say it again.
Hudson Young on the left.
He was very good, I thought, for New South Wales.
Liam Martin on the right. So I want him defending alongside Nathan Cleary and Stephen Crichton. I want those three guys to be connected like they were at Penrith to shut down Queensland's left side.
Good idea.
And Cameron Murray starting.
Yeah.
At
He
13.
has to start, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I asked him about that yesterday when I interviewed him, and I said, "Do you get him?" And he's embarrassed by all this talk.
Right.
Well, because it's the captain. It's Isaiah Yeo. It's his teammate. It's his captain. He's not going to go out there.
Yeah, he's really embarrassed by that.
He's a humble guy, though, Cam.
Yeah, he is. And but like that. Everybody's been saying it. So when he came on, I can't even remember. New South Wales are ahead. Cam Murray. and then we went backwards. I'm not saying it was his fault, but I'm just saying that's what happened in the game.
Isaiah Yeo, we just spoke about. He's done a job in the middle there before in Origin, playing in the front row and done a fantastic job. Yeah, he has. He started in the front row before and he did a great job.
Then,
yeah, he did a really good job.
How many years ago?
This would have been, I think it might have
Freddie
been
years,
Freddie
maybe?
years.
Or
Yeah.
Madge. I can't remember.
A little while ago.
But he could do a job for sure.
Yeah.
You think about that, you've got Isaiah Yeo's maybe the greatest lock ever, arguably. And then you've got Cam Murray's like the greatest lock in the game at the moment. Like they've got.
We need a captain's performance from Isaiah Yeo, though. We need him to really rip in, and you know, I think that's an area where I just think he needs to really have a big game.
Yeah, but
really have a
you
big
reading
game.
this team out just goes to show like there is no excuses for New South Wales, and it's probably why Laurie Daley. There's been so much criticism on him because like this team he's reading out is
Can we hear his
unbelievable.
bench?
Yes, let's hear the.
Do you want the bench? Okay, I'm going to give Aden Fanua-Blake a reprieve. He's on the bench for me. I don't need a whole lot out of him because
he only got
what I'm saying is
9 minutes last week, so he'll be perfect for you.
He'll be more out of that. But we've got New South Wales are going to have.
So this is a team without Hamoli, by the way, so far.
Maybe
just wait.
Yeah.
This team that I've selected for my starting lineup has Payne Haas, Isaiah Yeo, and Cameron Murray all starting as the middle forwards. They're all capable of playing big minutes. So I want impact from my bench. So Aden Fanua-Blake's going to be there. He might only play 20 minutes or 25 minutes, but he's got to change gears. He's got to change the pace of the game when he comes on. This is going to be a really controversial selection. I actually was very, very close along those lines to picking Spencer Leniu on my bench. I know he hasn't been in great form, but I haven't gone for him in the end. I'm going to go for Kurt Donahue from the Dolphins.
Oh, wow.
I think he's a guy who's been flying under the radar and playing phenomenal football for the Dolphins this year. He can come on, he can ball play around the middle. He's a very effective defender. He's got quick feet. You might only need him for 20 or 25 minutes, but I think he can add something off the bench. And he's familiar with Suncorp, plays up there every second or third week, obviously. I know it's a very left field selection, but he's going to take that spot on the bench, which I probably had pegged for Victor Radley, to be honest, but I've left Radley out of my team. Ola Kawatu comes back in on the bench as the impact back rower on the edge if you need him. I'm going to carry a second hooker in Api Coruscant. I think so. I've left Robson out as well. I want creativity around dummy half. I think we need it desperately. Harry Grant is just running rings around New South Wales at the moment. So I'm going with 2 attacking dummy halves. And then Ethan Strange obviously has to be on the bench there somewhere. I don't know how you get him into the game, but
that's hard, isn't it?
It's an option.
It is so.
It's an option. And then my last bench spot is going to go to Tom Trbojevic.
Ooh.
Is that player 20 or player
19? If something happens to James Tedesco, we've got to fill in at fullback.
Yep.
And he can also cover either centre or wing on the outside backs.
Yeah. Look, I
fire away. Go.
No, I've talked about a fair bit of it, but I still like Radley. I still like.
I just think having
for Fanua-Blake then, or for Donaghy?
One of them. Yeah, one of them. I still like Radley because I think in the first game he was really good. In the second game he went a little bit high with a couple of shots.
He also dropped a crucial pass from Robson. It wasn't a good pass, to be fair. It was
true.
early in the
That's
second
true.
half. New South Wales was still leading. They were on the attack. He dropped a really crucial ball, and then after that, it was just all Queensland.
I just like what he brings.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree.
I'm a big believer in the mentality that New South Wales needs, and I like his mentality. I like the Liam Martin mentality. I like the attack it all, the attack dog sort of mentality, and those guys represent that. I'm not going to. I haven't picked my own team, so I can't rip into yours. But I'm still a Robson fan. I know that's not the way a lot of people think. I'd like to see his defence is pretty good. Yeah,
it is. I think Blake Brayley defends pretty well in the middle as well. To be fair,
well, I'd probably go with the combo of Robertson and Brayley, which worked in game one. I know we won in probably unusual circumstances, but I like their combination.
I'll tell you what, it's a good team. I like it. And I think hearing that team has just made me get my confidence back for New South Wales.
It's not beyond the realms of possibility they win this game. Like, I know it's crazy to say that.
I want to believe it, but we haven't seen it.
No.
For 3 games, really, haven't we?
I get it.
The last 3 games, like decider, game 1, game 2. We're about lucky to be alive, puncher's chance. It's New South Wales have a chance to make some sort of origin story that we'll talk about for years, hopefully.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. All right, quick break, boys. We'll be back very shortly on Triple M NRL Daily.
Well, before we continue with Triple M NRL Daily, a quick shout out to our sponsor, Macca's. We are deep into the footy season now and every game matters. But with Macca's, you don't need a stadium to be part of it. Just your screen, your couch, your mates, and a solid game plan, because at this time of the year, it's all about making the right plays. You can lock in your order early if you want a Big Mac, if you want some nuggets, you want some fries, whatever side you need. When the pressure's on and you can't miss a second, make the call and get Macca's delivered for just 99 cents. It's only on the My Macca's app. Well played.
What's your go-to at Macca's, Charlie?
I'm a quarter pounder meal, large quarter pounder meal with 6 nuggets on the side. What do you go?
I'm a Sundae guy. I love a Macca's ice cream. I don't know what about. I just love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And now we're talking about Macca's. I might go get it after we finish this podcast, actually.
That can be your well, since you had a business class, you're probably a bit full from your 5 meals you had. However, I'm sure you could sneak in a sneaky
yeah, for sure,
quarter pounder.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, the more you eat, the more hungry you get as well. So
Is that a fact?
I've started eating. I need to eat more.
Did you stay on your hard 75, whatever it was?
Well, that ended in April.
Okay.
That ended, yeah.
Still feeling fresh?
Still feeling fresh, mate.
Look great.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Look great.
Thank you. You too, Danny.
You could get a start in Reservoir Dogs.
Thanks,
anytime.
mate. You're on my most beautiful journo top 5 list that I'll do some point during the show.
And Bullfrog Richie.
Yeah, going head to head. One thing we missed, boys, in the Laurie Daley chat was the article from Travis Main and Peter Bedell about Laurie Daley putting players to sleep. Now, what is the truth around this story?
It pissed off the entire New South Wales coaching staff and playing group to a man. Like, they're all... And look, these are... I'll defend journos that I don't think journos make up stories. So they've got some sort of inkling or some sort of lead on a story. I couldn't stand it up myself when I tried to get evidence to back it up. But I'm not, I might not have the same contacts that those guys have in the New South Wales team. So clearly they're basing it on something. And I wrote this in my column, I did make a lot of calls about it. And the only thing I could come up with when it comes to Laurie, and look, he was open to criticism because the starts were bad, right? That was the basis of it. So I asked about the speech in Melbourne, and I asked several people, and they said spine-tingling, unbelievable speech. Had us ready to go, all that sort of stuff. So, and they did start pretty well.
Yeah.
The only thing I could work out in game one, and I don't know if you knew this or not, Adam, but Laurie was crook, and he had a really bad ear infection. And I interviewed him post-match, and I was from here to here away from him, holding my microphone, in shot, my usual style.
Two-shot, Danny.
Two-shot. And before we started the interview, he said, "Can you swap sides?" I thought, Laurie's got a good side and a bad side, because some people do have that. Honestly, some people prefer to be interviewed.
How many people have asked you that
How
over the
many
years?
ex-rugby league players care
not
about
ex
what
or
side?
current
Really?
ex. I would say a dozen.
So they genuinely ask you to say, "Can you go on to the other side, interview me from the other side?"
100%.
Jesus.
Anyway,
Can you
Laurie
name
asked
any names?
No, Laurie asked me for that, right? I thought he was being vain as well. Though.
Yeah.
I was unlike you. They said I can't hear.
Right.
So he couldn't hear out of one of his ears. And when I interviewed him in the dressing room, it wasn't particularly loud. Like, it wasn't a raucous dressing room. It was like watching a Charlie Chaplin movie. Like, it was all mouthing. Is that, Marcel,
miming, yeah.
whatever it was. I was watching. I couldn't hear a single word he said.
So how do you know what to ask as the next question?
I asked my next question. But I couldn't hear it. It was only because the microphones could pick up everything that I went back later. I think the next morning, I thought, well, I wonder what he said. I didn't know what he said.
Yeah, wow.
Because he was having problems with his volume use with his voice. And I don't know if anyone's had an ear infection and that's impacted them that way. But that's the only thing I could put it down to, is that maybe some of his messaging wasn't getting through because of that ear infection. And other than that, I couldn't stand up the story. But I can tell you that in terms of stories that have pissed off New South Wales, that's right up there. Because people do like Laurie, and people do want him to do well. And I know that, we totally stuffed up the bench. I think that's legitimate criticism. But to criticise him as a person and, speeches and that sort of thing, I couldn't stand that up. I think we can talk all day about the bench, the way it was used. Legitimate criticism.
No, it's fair.
Totally wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
I was with an Origin legend pre-game for game one.
Was that what you refer to yourself now?
Yeah, an Origin legend. I don't want to name their name because they're not here to weigh in. But we were standing next to each other and we were looking at shots into the New South Wales dressing sheds. And this legend said, "Oh, legend, this is the flat speech. That looks really flat."
Really?
He said that looks really flat. And so I wasn't there. We couldn't hear the speech. We obviously couldn't hear the speech. We just had vision of it.
Was this before game one, you say?
Before game one, so the Sydney game. And he said, "Wow, that's a flat pre-game Origin speech."
So I think Laurie gave his speech pre-game to the players in the hotel.
Well, that's a good point. I think most coaches will give their most rousing or emotional speech, not at the venue 10 minutes
where
before kickoff.
Cameras are on.
That's right. They'll do it in the hotel. Remember that great
That
documentary?
seems strange, though.
That's how they do it.
That seems strange. Don't you want to give them that final...
Charlie, if those players aren't ready to go then without saying, mate, go out there and rip a head off, surely it falls back on the player at that point. And there's got to be some personal accountability to get in there and do it.
Do you remember the documentary that Penrith filmed about winning some of their comps, whenever it was, how many comps they've won? I think it might have been before the 2024 grand final. Ivan did an amazing one at the hotel, speaking about the Melbourne Storm and how much respect he had for the Melbourne Storm and how we have to beat the Melbourne Storm now because they've been the benchmark for so long. He didn't do that 5 minutes before kickoff.
Yep.
He did that the night before. So coaches have different methods to get their players up.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be at the ground. And that's what I know Laurie's last one was in the hotel.
Okay.
So there you go.
No, there you go. That's interesting insight. Player movement news, boys.
Oh,
June 30 deadline is fast approaching.
What's the date today?
It is
24th.
24th of June. So in a week's time, the deadline
Where's the year
will be
gone,
closed.
Charlie?
Well, it's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. It's 2027 next year. Just flying by.
It's amazing.
That's
So we get to Bronson
2027
Xerri.
next year. What a great fact.
there's clickbait for you.
Bronson Xerri.
Bronson Xerri.
Now, could he go at him before June 30?
I don't know if he'll go before June 30, but I'd be absolutely stunned if he's still at the Bulldogs next year, Danny, in 2027. I think Canterbury have actually given him official permission
They have. Yep.
to leave now. So he's obviously testing the market. He's under contract till the end of next season, 2027, but he won't be there in 2027. And I think it might be a race between the Storm and the Eels.
Yeah.
They're the two suitors.
Yep.
And I dare say Bronson Xerri will land at one of those clubs.
Yeah. So what Adam said is exactly right. I think there will be a inquiry from Bronson and his management team to leave before June 30. Whether the Bulldogs are open to that, I'm not sure. They still think their season's alive. So do you want to let a player go when you need depth? And they've just, they lose. They've been losing a lot of players, and Kiros has been hurt. But I think there will be an inquiry to go to a new club before June 30. And the choice is going to be this. I think Bronson is going to be told, do you want to develop your game and take it to Origin level? It might happen better under the Melbourne Storm setup.
Which probably won't be Craig Bellamy next year.
Well,
Are
we sure about that?
You never know.
Because as part of this, and Michael Carianis reported this morning in the Telegraph, I think that Bronson's flown down to Melbourne already. He actually spoke to Craig Bellamy, I believe.
Yeah.
Wow.
So if Craig Bellamy was planning to walk away from Melbourne at the end of the year, he's not showing any signs of it.
Yeah, that's right. And but he would be coached by Craig this year if he goes this year. So but I don't think either club has yet put an actual offer on the table because I think it was only the last 24 hours or so that he was given permission to look around. And Parramatta, that's an easier option for him. It's an easier fit. Like he doesn't have to leave Sydney, which he loves living in Sydney. It's going to come down to how much do you want to push your career forward, and do you see yourself as an Origin style player, or do you prefer to stay where you are in terms of comfort zone and living where you know? And Parramatta are going to potentially. We thought they'd be good this year, but they haven't been. But potentially be the club that could be on the rise under a good coach like Jason Riles as well. So that's where it stands with Xerri.
Is there an indication which way he could be leaning?
I don't know.
I think it's
I'm
too
not
early.
Too
early, but I think the decision will happen fairly quickly.
I think it will develop fast.
Hopefully not by the time the podcast drops.
Yeah.
Where we look like complete idiots.
Yeah.
Which won't be for that's happened before.
Yeah.
So.
June 30 is the deadline. Now, I was watching a clip on social media from James Hooper's podcast, Rugby League Insiders, where he spoke about if the Broncos lose this weekend on Friday night to the Roosters, they're pretty much out of finals contention. and there is an inquiry that's been made from the Rabbitohs on if they could get Payne Haas for this year
Wow, this has
before
come from
June
left
30.
field.
Have you seen this clip, Danny, or no?
No.
Have you seen this clip?
I saw it very briefly this morning, Charlie. I did. I must admit I did see it. I haven't made any inquiries on it. Listen, nothing surprises you in rugby league, but this would surprise me. Like, what message is that saying from the Broncos if they just let their best player walk out on the rest of the season?
Is their season dead if they lose this
Well, they'll
week?
be down. They'll be on 10 losses, and
Effectively,
it's
yeah.
effectively over. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think Payne would want to suddenly up and move?
There's a lot of logistics involved with Payne, with his younger brothers he looks after, all that sort of stuff. It's not as simple as just dropping everything and just moving the next day.
Well, I think Madge. There's no way he would want the Bunnies to get a win. And same with the Broncos higher ups letting Wayne have a win like that. They wouldn't want that either, would they?
Yeah. It's worth, I guess, if Souths ask, if the Rabbitohs ask the question, it's worth asking.
Yeah.
However, you know, I don't see the upside for the Broncos in letting Payne Haas go.
Yeah.
Do you?
No.
Any upside?
No.
Cap. But,
Unless they get a player back, but I doubt that's going to happen.
No.
For just,
Give us Latrell.
Give us Latrell. Yeah. Yes, please.
Have you got any mail on Spencer Leniu, Danny?
Only that Parra have been interested for a while.
Well, they need a middle, don't they, Parra? It's what they're missing.
They need an outside back, Bronson, and they need a middle, Spencer.
But I don't think Spencer's been given any formal permission
Okay.
to test the market. That's my understanding anyway.
Right.
Would I be surprised if, I don't think Spencer will be at the club beyond the end of next season, under contract to the end of 2027. I'd be surprised if he gets an extension at the Roosters, but I don't think this story is as far advanced as what people might be suggesting.
And because was the talk for this story that it could happen like this year, letting go this year?
Why would Spencer want to leave when the Roosters are still a chance of winning a comp? Like, I know he's not playing the greatest of football. He's probably got limited minutes, but he's still a chance of winning a comp with the Roosters this year.
Didn't he come
He's
out?
not going to win one at Parramatta.
Didn't he come out and say how much he wants to stay at the Roosters recently or something on social media? I don't know. Yeah. I know Parramatta have been sniffing around Spencer for a while, though.
Yep.
Just in the hope that something might happen.
Without breaking any rules.
No, you wouldn't want to do that.
Well, speaking of rule breaking, the Perth Bears, they've been given now. This is a massive story. This story because they've been given salary cap concessions now. They include a 20% bonus on the salary cap, basically, and the Bears are receiving overall salary cap concessions of up to $500,000. It's a massive story. Do you guys know more about what this all looks like?
Well, I wrote about this a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
that could happen. That was a meeting inspired by James Bracey and I think it was Daniel Dixon. Yeah, they went and fronted Peter V'landys. What I do know is that it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
Because it might be about to happen. It's been on the cards for weeks, but Peter V'landys has had something called the rights deal to worry about, and I think a lot of his time has been taken up in rights deal meetings. I asked him yesterday and again today whether the concessions had happened. He said no. But it appears like something like this will happen, but they needed to happen 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago whenever we first wrote about it. Not like every day that goes past is another day where it's harder for them to assemble a roster that Charlie would find acceptable because he doesn't find this one acceptable.
No, well, does anyone find acceptable? It's a wooden spoon roster at the moment. It is. It's a wooden spoon roster.
Is it a bench? It's a bench roster.
It is. It's like there's like two starting players in this entire team. Sean Russell's one of them, and I think Nick Meaney's the other. They're the only guys starting for the team.
Meaney hasn't been in great form.
Meaney hasn't been in great form, no. And Sean Russell is not exactly a superstar.
But I think, I've said it before, I think what they're trying to do is they're realising they're having a massive struggle trying to attract top-line talent. But they're starting to get the best kids now underneath them. So they're hoping in 3-4 years' time.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I wrote about a young kid from the Dragons, Asher Chapman's got big raps on him. Rugby Union chasing him as well. They've locked him up for a few years now, the Bears. So they're trying to get kids underneath who are going to be good in 3 or 4 years' time. I know it's a long way to wait, Charlie, but at least they've got some sort of strategy.
Can we afford to have a team in Perth that's rubbish for 4 or 5 years?
Well, probably not.
What's your definition of rubbish?
Bottom 4.
No, it has to make a mark. Whereas I think, like if PNG struggle the first couple of years, they've got a mad supporter base there and whatever. They're going to, and they've got the cash.
But they're not going to struggle as well,
I know you think they're going to win a comp. I know you think they're going to win the comp. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that them struggling for a couple of years is better than Perth struggling for 3 or 4 years. I think it's a tough market over there. It's not a natural rugby league market, and they're going to have to hit the ground running. And at the moment, it feels like they're hitting the ground limping, because I still hear lots of noise around dissatisfaction around head coach Mal Meninga. The coaching team there aren't on the same page, and that is a bad way to start a team.
Bit of creativity they are showing is around their recruitment strategy.
Yep.
And you wrote about this on the weekend, the appointment of David Campese in a very unique role, though.
Yeah, to dip into the South African rugby market. And Campo lived there for ages, apparently has good contacts there. If they can jag a player 2/3 as good as Mark Nwanganitawase out of the South African rugby system and put him on the wing for the Bears, I'm watching the Bears, because they need something to make me want to watch them at the moment. And if they can gather a couple of good young players, good, because they haven't got a really, they've got the local North Sydney feeder. I don't understand their pathways that well, but I wouldn't imagine that Perth's dripping in rugby league players.
No.
So they're going to have to look somewhere else. And South Africa's got a very rich rugby factory. And if you're probably not going to get a forward or two out of there, but if you can get a couple of decent backs, maybe a halfback, you never know. So it's worth the risk.
Supposedly in South Africa, you get the high school kids who are jacked, maybe even juiced to the gills. Some people say that. The South African teenagers.
Where have you pulled that out of?
That's just the rumours, mate.
So you're saying,
how are they legally going to play in the NRL then?
So
what I mean is they grow
Let's
them early.
unpack this statement.
They come in.
You're saying kids in South African high schools are taking steroids.
I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm saying that is the rumour. That is the rumour.
He's been on a long haul flight. Let's cut him a bit of slack.
I think if
Charlie,
you listen
you had on that flight?
If you listen to, I think what was the Drew Mitchell's podcast with Adam Ashley Cooper.
I'll listen. Can you refer the episode, because I'd like to hear it?
I can't remember the episode. Okay. They talk
about. I know they're in your speed dial. Could you ask one of those?
I'm sure we could call Drew Mitchell and find out. But I think
jacked kids in South Africa.
The rumour is that South Africa is a bit how you going with how they develop their younger players coming through.
So they've got strong jaw lines.
Yeah. And six packs. Big chests.
All right,
big
well,
lats.
let's hope we can get some clean players.
I don't care if they're juiced. They got to stop juicing eventually by the time they're coming over here, It's been great to be back with both of you.
Yeah.
Rugby League World Cup. Now, Melbourne didn't want any games.
Well, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like we saw, I think that the people in charge of World Cup and the NRL were desperate for Melbourne to have a game, because obviously it's a city that loves sport, but they couldn't get a bite. So maybe they're not as in love with rugby league as we thought, or maybe the government's not interested. I think that's probably part of it.
They just had 90,000 at the MCG.
Yeah,
so
I know, yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
I'm sure Australia played against England to start the World Cup. The last time I was in Australia,
You
it was
might
in
be
Melbourne.
right.
It was at Amy Park. I remember, because I covered the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I remember that, but I was down there
Was I there? I could have been.
I think it might have been Melbourne Cup week, and I was down there at the same time. And
I could have been there.
I doubled
Yeah.
up doing both.
That's a good trip.
It was a good trip, Charlie. Yeah, it was a good
fantastic.
I could have been there and not gone to the Melbourne Cup.
Yeah.
That'd be true for my form.
Yeah.
But which is weird, right? I mean, you would have thought that that's a showpiece event, the World Cup, hopefully, and it's a city that loves sport.
Now, something that's very special is actually happening on Friday, involving yourself and Buzz Rothfield for the first time coming together for a good cause. We've got the Jai round on the 24-hour live stream with all the different rugby league personalities. It's going to be on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. But yourself and Buzz Rothfield for the first ever time are sitting down and doing an hour together.
Is it going to be like some sort of glass between us, or?
Yeah, we'll have to get some bread. We'll have to break bread, and we'll have to.
Are you running this? I don't know. I don't know
Jimmy
much
Graham
about
will probably be running it. I'm not sure where my head will be at, because I've been up for 36 hours at that point. So
why?
Because I'll wake up at 8 a.m. whenever I wake up, 7 a.m. in the morning, and then it will be the next day.
Just get some of those South African steroids into you, Charlie.
Yeah. I'll get some off. I'll get some off some of the South Africans. Yeah, great idea.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So for the first time ever, you and Buzz.
Well, we've talked to each other before.
No, but not in a public domain.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I can't wait.
Yeah, and it's for a good cause, though, because we're raising a ton of money for the gyro.
Oh, I'm very happy to do it for that.
Yeah.
And I'm happy I've got no drama sitting in the same room as Buzz.
Yeah.
Probably has drama sitting with me, but that's okay.
I don't know if he would.
Yeah.
He'd be okay.
It's all love. It's all love and war.
I don't know if it's love.
Yeah.
Can you tell some old war stories between you? I
don't
listen to the war
I'm
stories.
bad at remembering stories. But we'll just have a chat.
We'll have a chat. We'll see how it goes. But no, great to see you both. We're back tomorrow. We've got Ronnie Matua in the house. We've got Josh Reynolds in the house. It'll be good. Be a good show. But great to see you both.
Bulldogs podcast.
Bulldogs podcast, baby. Let's go.